What happens when an undercover CEO witnesses a cashier risking her job to help someone in need? The evening rush was finally winding down at City Mart Superstore. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, and the faint scent of floor cleaner hung in the air. Maya stood behind the customer service counter, her fingers moving quickly as she processed returns and exchanges. She was young, barely 20, but her sharp eyes and calm demeanor kept things running smoothly. "Next, please," Maya called out, her voice warm yet weary. An older man shuffled forward, clutching a worn-out receipt and a dented toaster. "I need to return this," he muttered. "Of course, sir," Maya said, offering a polite smile. "Do you have the original card you used to purchase it?" The man fumbled in his wallet. Behind him, the line stretched with impatient shoppers. Maya kept her focus steady, moving with practiced ease. A man in a baseball cap, Ethan Brooks, CEO of City Mart Superstore, though no one knew it, stood a few feet away, casually observing the employees. He had spent the past week blending in as Evan, a temporary stock worker. Tonight, he'd decided to observe Maya after hearing several employees praise her work ethic. "She's sharp, never loses her cool," one team lead had mentioned. But Ethan knew words only told half the story. He wanted to see Maya in action. The next customer was a young mother with two small kids clinging to her legs. She juggled a handful of coupons, a half-empty purse, and a cart piled with groceries. Maya greeted her warmly and efficiently scanned each item, pausing to help the woman calm her restless children. "You're doing great," Maya said with a smile, handing the woman her receipt. "Have a wonderful night." The next customer stepped forward, and that's when the trouble started. A homeless man, thin and weathered, stood in front of Maya's register. His hair was unkempt, and his clothes hung loose on his frame. He clutched a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and a few canned goods. "That'll be $12.47, Maya said softly. The man dug into his pocket and pulled out a handful of crumpled bills and loose change. He counted it twice, but his face fell. "I'm short," he mumbled, "by about $3. The line behind him shifted impatiently. One man muttered, "Unbelievable." Maya glanced at the line, then back at the man. "It's okay," she said quickly. "Let me see what I can do." She started keying in a discount, but her manager, Kyle, suddenly appeared behind her. "What are you doing?" Kyle barked. "He's a little short," Maya explained. "I was just adding a discount so—" "No," Kyle cut her off sharply. "That's against store policy." "But Kyle, it's just $3. I said no," Kyle snapped. His voice turned louder, drawing attention from nearby shoppers. If he can't pay, he can't buy. The homeless man lowered his head, gripping his few items tightly. "Wait," Maya blurted. She reached into her own pocket and quietly pulled out a few crumpled bills. "Here," she said, sliding the money into the register. "It's covered." "Ah, you serious right now?" Kyle scowled. "You can't just give handouts." "It's my money," Maya shot back. "And he needs food." The man's eyes widened. "Thank you," he murmured. Kyle shook his head angrily. "This isn't charity work. Do you know how bad this looks?" "I know how it would look if I turned him away hungry," Maya countered firmly. "I'm writing you up," Kyle snapped. "Count on that." Maya held her ground. "Fine, write me up, but at least he won't go to bed hungry tonight." Ethan stood frozen, watching the exchange unfold. He saw how Maya's face remained calm but defiant. The homeless man thanked her once again and shuffled away with his food. But Ethan couldn't take his eyes off Maya. The tension still lingered in the air as Kyle stormed away. Maya exhaled slowly, then returned to her register, greeting the next customer with the same warm smile. Ethan knew he had seen something remarkable. Maya had risked her job for a stranger, not for attention or recognition, but simply because it was the right thing to do. He made a mental note. This girl deserved more than just a thank you. She deserved something much bigger. The air inside the customer service counter was tense. Maya stood stiffly behind the counter, nervously tapping her fingers against the polished wood surface. The man in the suit, who had quietly revealed himself as the CEO moments ago, stood at the other end of the counter, silently watching. His sharp eyes followed her every move. So, Ethan Brooks, the CEO, finally spoke. His voice was calm, but firm. Tell me what happened earlier. Maya swallowed hard. I was just trying to help. The man, he didn't have enough money and he looked like he'd been struggling. So you paid for him, Ethan finished for her, his expression unreadable. Maya nodded. Yes, sir. I know I probably wasn't supposed to, but I didn't want to see him go hungry. Ethan stared at her for a long moment, then leaned on the counter. Do you know what the store's policy is about that? Maya lowered her head. Yes. Employees aren't allowed to give away products. But it just felt like the right thing to do. Ethan's expression softened slightly, but before he could respond, the sharp sound of footsteps broke the silence. Excuse me, sir. A familiar voice interrupted. Trent, the store manager, strode in, looking smug. If you need to know what happened, I can explain. He shot Maya a cold smile before turning to Ethan. She gave away free food to some vagrant. I was just about to write her up when you stepped in. A vagrant? Ethan repeated, his tone cooling. Yeah, Trent scoffed. Some homeless guy who was just trying to guilt her into handouts. Happens all the time. These kids are too soft. Maya flinched, but stayed silent. Is that right? Ethan asked, eyes narrowing. Because from where I was standing, it looked like she was showing compassion. Trent blinked. Compassion? Sir, you can't let employees break company rules just because they feel sorry for some bum. We're running a business here. A business, Ethan repeated thoughtfully. He turned back to Maya. How much was the meal you paid for? About $6, Maya said softly. $6, Ethan murmured. He shifted his gaze back to Trent. And this vagrant, did he cause a disturbance? Well, no, Trent admitted, but rules are rules. If we let things like this slide, employees will just start giving stuff away left and right. And how often has Maya done this before? Ethan asked. Trent faltered. I don't know. So this is the first time? Ethan pressed. Well, yes, but so, Ethan cut him off. One act of kindness and you're ready to write her up. Trent's face flushed. We can't reward bad behavior. Bad behavior? Ethan's voice rose slightly. For being compassionate, for helping someone in need. Trent's mouth opened, but no words came out. The tension in the room thickened. Maya watched anxiously as Ethan turned fully to face her manager. Trent, let me make something very clear, Ethan said firmly. This company's success isn't just about numbers and rules, it's about people. And when one of our employees shows empathy and kindness, that's exactly the kind of person we need. He paused, letting the words sink in. Now, I want you to apologize to Maya. Excuse me? Trent sputtered. You heard me, Ethan said flatly. Apologize. Trent's face burned red. His mouth twitched, and for a moment, Maya thought he might refuse. But after a long pause, Trent muttered, Sorry. Louder, Ethan demanded. Trent swallowed hard, then forced out a stiff, I'm sorry. Maya barely managed to stammer a quiet, It's okay. Ethan turned to Maya with a rare smile. You did the right thing today. I'm proud of you. Thank you, sir, Maya said, relief washing over her. And, Ethan added, consider your shift covered. Go take a break. You've earned it. As Maya stepped away, her heart felt lighter, but behind her she could still feel Trent's glare burning into her back. This wasn't over. The morning rush had faded, leaving the store quieter but still busy enough to keep Maya on her toes. She stood at the customer service counter, processing returns and handling questions with her usual calm demeanor. The air smelled faintly of cleaning products, and soft pop music played overhead. But Maya's thoughts lingered elsewhere. Yesterday's tense encounter with her manager, Tony, replayed in her mind. He had humiliated her in front of customers and threatened to cut her hours. If she made one more mistake, she clenched her fists under the counter, swallowing her frustration. "Excuse me, miss." An elderly man interrupted her thoughts. He placed a small bag on the counter. "I need to return this shirt. It didn't fit." Maya forced a smile. "Of course, sir. Do you have your receipt?" "Right here." He handed it over. As Maya processed the return, she noticed Tony pacing near the entrance. His gaze locked on her like a hawk. Her stomach tightened. He was watching her every move, waiting for her to mess up. Moments later, a young man walked in. His clothes were tattered, his hair unkempt. He looked around nervously before approaching Maya's counter. Hey," he said softly. "I was wondering if... Maya offered a reassuring smile. "It's okay. Take your time." The man pulled out a handful of crumpled dollar bills and some coins. "I need to buy a warm jacket. I've been saving up, but I'm still short." Maya's heart sank. She glanced down at his trembling hands. His fingers were raw from the cold. She glanced at the register. He was nearly $8 short. "Wait here," Maya said softly. She scanned the store shelves and quickly found a jacket marked down to clearance price. It wasn't perfect, but it was warm and sturdy. She brought it back to the counter. "I can cover the difference," Maya whispered. The man's eyes widened. "Really? But you don't have to..." "I want to." She reached into her purse, pulled out a $10 bill, and slid it into the register. "Thank you," the man said, his voice breaking. "You don't know what this means to me." Maya smiled. "Stay warm out there, okay?" The man turned to leave, and Maya watched him go, feeling warm inside. But the moment of relief didn't last long. "Maya!" Tony's voice boomed from across the store. He stormed over, face flushed with anger. "What do you think you're doing?" "I was just helping him," Maya said, standing her ground. "Helping him?" Tony scoffed. "You know store policy. No discounts, no handouts. You can't just give away merchandise." "I didn't," Maya shot back. "I paid for it myself." "That's not the point," Tony barked. "You're setting a bad example. If one employee starts giving things away, others will follow." "I was being kind," Maya insisted. "That man needed help." "And now you need help," Tony sneered. "You're done here. Go clean out your locker." "Wait, what?" Maya gasped. "You're firing me." "You don't make the rules," Tony snapped. "I do. Get your stuff and get out." Tears burned Maya's eyes. She glanced around the store. Some customers stared in silence, others whispered. The warmth she had felt moments ago vanished. Swallowing hard, Maya turned and walked toward the break room to gather her things. As she emptied her locker, her thoughts swirled. How would she explain this to her mother? They were barely making ends meet as it was. She blinked rapidly, fighting back tears. She had only been trying to do the right thing. Moments later, as Maya walked toward the exit with her backpack slung over her shoulder, a voice stopped her. "Excuse me, miss?" Maya turned to see an older man stepping out from one of the aisles. He wore a tailored suit, but his face was kind and familiar. "I saw what you did back there," the man said. "For that young man." "Oh." Maya forced a smile. "I just wanted to help." The man extended his hand. "I'm Daniel Foster, CEO of this company." Maya's heart skipped a beat. "Wait, you're the CEO?" "Yes," Daniel said with a smile, "and I'm very impressed. But Tony just fired me." "I know," Daniel said, "and we're about to fix that." He gestured for Maya to follow him back, inside the store. Customers and employees paused to watch as Daniel approached Tony, who stood smugly at the counter. "Tony," Daniel said firmly. "My office, now." Tony froze. Sure, Mr. Foster." Oh, and one more thing, Daniel added. Before you go, apologize to Maya. Tony's face paled. He turned to Maya, his voice hollow. I'm sorry. Maya barely nodded. Go, Daniel ordered. Tony slinked away. Turning back to Maya, Daniel smiled warmly. I think we need more employees like you. How would you feel about a promotion? Maya's eyes widened. Promotion? Your compassion made this store better, Daniel said. That's exactly what we need. For the first time that day, Maya smiled genuinely. I'd love that, Daniel grinned. Then welcome to the management team. The store was unusually quiet as Daniel walked through the aisles, the echoes of Tony's angry shouts still fresh in his mind. Maya sat at a small table in the employee break room, her face buried in her hands. She barely looked up when Daniel entered. Hey, he said softly. Maya wiped her eyes quickly and tried to smile. Sorry, I'll clean out my locker and go. No, Daniel said firmly. You're not going anywhere. Her head jerked up. But Tony, he fired me. I know. Daniel sat across from her, his voice low but certain. But Tony doesn't have that power anymore. Maya blinked in confusion. What do you mean? I mean, Daniel took a deep breath and smiled faintly. I'm not just some customer. I'm Daniel Hartman, CEO of this company. Maya stared at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. Wait, you're... She shook her head. No way. Daniel chuckled. Then his expression turned serious. I saw everything. What you did for that man. How you stood up to Tony even when it cost you your job. That was brave. I didn't feel brave, Maya whispered. I couldn't. Let Tony treat that man like that. And that's exactly why you deserve better, Daniel said. I'm giving you a promotion, customer service supervisor. You'll oversee this store's front-end operations, and I want you to train future employees on compassion and integrity. Maya's eyes welled with tears. You're serious? Dead. Serious. Daniel grinned. People like you make this company better. Before Maya could respond, a soft knock at the door interrupted them. The homeless man from earlier, David, stood awkwardly in the doorway, his old jacket folded neatly over. His arm. I just wanted to say thank you, David said. I overheard what happened. I'm sorry I caused you trouble. Maya shook her head. You didn't cause anything. David reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a crumpled receipt. You paid for my food. I want to pay you back when I get my first paycheck. His smile was warm yet uncertain. I got a job. That's amazing, Maya beamed. Where? Here, Daniel interjected. I offered him a job as a greeter and floor assistant. He starts Monday. David's face lit up. I promise I won't let you down, sir. I know you won't, Daniel said. Just bring that same kindness you showed Maya. Maya wiped her eyes again, but this time she smiled wide. Looks like we're teammates now. Guess so, David chuckled. The store buzzed with fresh energy when Maya returned to her new post. Her warm smile greeted every customer, and the staff already seemed calmer without Tony's looming presence. David, proudly wearing his new uniform, stood by the entrance, offering warm welcomes to everyone who walked in. Weeks later, Daniel returned to the store unannounced. He smiled as he watched Maya training 2 new employees, her confident voice filling the room. Nearby, David was helping a mother with her shopping cart, grinning as her toddler laughed at his funny faces. As Daniel turned to leave, a customer stopped him. That girl at the counter, the man said, gesturing to Maya. She's got the best attitude. Makes you feel welcome. Daniel's smile widened. Yeah, he said softly. She's pretty special. If you believe kindness matters, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more inspiring stories like this one.